Hi, Stacy here with Limelight AZ. I just realized I forgot to do the update for this week, and it's Monday already. I usually try to do it Saturday night, Sunday morning, after I've had a couple of days after the last bump up. The last bump up was to 9 stings. That was Thursday. And I've since done more stings last night. So I think I am at 125 total right now. Um, no real progress to speak of. I've been hitting a lot of emotional, do I really want to live or not? Because I don't know that this is really going to work or not. I mean, that's very matter of fact because right now I'm emotionally okay. And that's truthfully how I'm feeling, It's 2 months of doing bee venom therapy, and I'm not seeing any major breakthroughs yet, which is discouraging. The biggest breakthrough I've seen is the way my brain works, which is both a blessing and a curse. Obviously, if I am not thinking straight, then I don't really realize as much, and can't logically evaluate things as much. But my brain is working well. So I am logically approaching what the realities of my life is right now and my potential future as well as that of my family. So there's been a lot of depression this week with wondering if it's worth it to me to continue living, if it's worth it to everybody else is having to deal with me. I mean, my quality of life is not really that great right now. I barely can flip over in bed at this point. Obviously, I haven't been out of bed at all in like a month and a half. Been evaluating the weird, it feels a lot like I'm in some weird dimension, like some sci-fi dimension, because how backward my life is right now, or Twilight Zone. It's just everything, every last bit about my life right now is crazy and doesn't make sense to me. Um, Including the blessings. I mean, the blessings and the non-blessings. Every last bit of it is just it's like watching my life play out on the Twilight Zone or some other world dimension my life is panning out differently. It's amazing, absolutely stunningly amazing how fast your life can flip upside down and it be completely different from what it was just a little over half a year ago. You know, everything from the more you learn about the Lyme, the more you realize that in of itself is like a Twilight Zone, to what is happening to my family and obviously my own health, to relationships and the weirdness there. My and I've talked about my relationships before, and at this point I've really just kind of given it up to God, but it's still confusing to me. It is what it is, and I think I've accepted that. But my relationships in my life are so strange. The only solid relationships that I have that continue to be solid are my husband, my mom, and my children. Or rather, my oldest child. The other ones are younger, and there's not really that foundational piece of loyalty. Where with my husband and my mom and my oldest, there's that loyalty. You don't drop people that are ill, and I finally, and this is fair warning, This is going to sound truly awful, especially if you live with Lyme disease. Um, but I feel like I've had these people who profess to care for me, and not that they need to be a significant part of my life all the time, but I feel abandoned by a lot of people, and a lot of people that I thought would have never abandoned me. And again, not that they need to be a part of my life on a regular basis, but it's like absolute crickets. Not acknowledging Lyme disease at all, or that I have Lyme disease, or that I'm significantly ill. It's just crickets. And I'm confused by this, and I wonder what is being said about my situation. And I don't know, maybe I don't want to wonder. I mean, I've had stuff run through my head about what people are perceiving. Everything from, well, she just doesn't want to help herself because they don't understand what this disease is, and I do. And that I'm doing what I can to help myself. To maybe I am being cursed by God because of XYZ. Everything from I've hurt them to maybe I'm hiding stuff, to maybe the family is hiding stuff, that we're not really who we profess to be, to the fact that I have family that thinks that I've rejected Christ because of my Torah observance. A lot has run through my head. And in my anger, when I'm angry over the absolute crickets of like nobody outside of my household, that let me rephrase this, because I don't want to negate that there are two people locally that I have seen okay, let's just lump them all in together. 4 people. Or 4 families, I should say. There are 4 families that I've seen since moving back to Arizona. Or family units, I should say. Most of those are just a single person. But okay, I think I'm making this more confusing than I need to be. I've seen half of them one time. The other half I've seen a couple times and have actually been extraordinarily helpful on more than one occasion. Even in just checking up on me. And no, there were 2 other families. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just forgetting, that people are visiting. Okay, so 6 family units, 4 of which I've seen once since coming back to Arizona. And we moved here in April, so May, June, July, August, so 4 months. 2 of which I have seen, I can't say regularly, but at least I feel like I'm not being ignored. I feel like when I ask for seeing people, that what am I trying to say? Gosh, this one's jumbled. I am still going to post this because maybe this is just Lyme brain, And maybe it's still important that I say what was on my mind, because obviously as I'm analyzing this, things are not quite what I was perceiving. But that doesn't help your emotions when you're in the midst of feeling depressed and thinking that you've been abandoned by people that care about you. That's clearly not true. Now that I'm like not emotionally upset and am analyzing it. There are a couple of people that I have wondered what they think, and have not been interested in coming and seeing me. One flat out ignored me twice, and that's hurtful. That one's actually a family member, and but I mean, what can you do? You wonder what is going through their heads, and you know what you would do if the roles were reversed. And it's sad that that person or people are not responding the way that you would. You know, I would make an effort to visit the person who's sick, scared, and wants to know that they are loved from people that profess to love them. You know, I think this is more about this one particular family member than anything else. And after really thinking about it and analyzing it a little bit as I'm doing this video, I think it boils down to more about this one particular family member and being weary of contacting other people in order to get them to respond proactively to my life and be a part of my life. So maybe it's more than one person. Like I said, this video seems to be all sorts of jumbled, and I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I think I'm just a little frustrated, and feeling ignored by certain people. I think that's probably the best. Not the majority of the people in my life, or even the majority of the people that I know. And I'm talking locally, not internet-based. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And flat out ignoring somebody who asks you to come see them, if there's any way that you'd be willing to come see them, and just flat out ignoring them is hurtful and confusing and makes me feel like, what's the point of even pursuing a relationship, even within family? So, as well as friendships that I feel like I'm chasing down, you know? So, what I also find, okay, so what I was going to say is, for the people that I feel especially rejected by, and don't feel like they are invested in really knowing me and what's going on with me, and the reason I say it like that is because it's important. If I have a friend going through something, or a family member going through something that's significant and is terrifying, I want to know what's going on with them. Not to be nosy, but to be supportive. And to not have the same from certain people that I would kind of anticipate them doing that is frustrating. So the hateful, spiteful, and probably Lyme-raging part of me almost wishes this horrible disease upon them. And that is awful to say. If you live with Lyme disease or you're witness to it, that is awful to say. Of course, I do not want that for these people. I just want them to understand. And unfortunately, that will never happen unless they themselves get it. Or somebody that they care about close to them gets it. closer, I should say, which is, again, an oxymoron because I should be close enough. Um, Man, this sounds like a very hateful video. You know, I never wish for sure that something bad come upon somebody. It's my sinful nature. Yep, I'm going to blame it on sin because me as a person doesn't want anybody hurt. Gosh, I go out of my way trying to identify Lyme disease in people that mention symptoms that are like telltale Lyme disease and saying, go get doxycycline if you have been bit by a tick or somebody you love has been bit by a tick, even if you don't show symptoms. You know, I don't want people living with this horrible disease and being isolated by people that you think will be there for you. You know, and it turns out they're not. Now, the irony in this is that I have ended up with friends that don't live locally who are supportive of me in this, you know, and are invested in knowing what's going on and are listening. Even a couple of people that are local, that the ones that I mentioned that check up on me and talk with me and are current to what is going on. But the ones that surprise me are the ones that were people I've never met, you know, and have turned out to be an enormous blessing. And I am so very thankful for. And again, it's almost like this weird alternate universe that I'm living in. Like, I don't recognize anything. I don't recognize my life at all, which hurts and it's confusing, and I don't even, like, if once the Lyme goes away, like, how do I approach life after Lyme? I've thought about that. It's not going to be the same. There's not going to be the same main players in my life that has been for many years. And that's hurtful, you know, because I love the people, the main players that have been in my life. Oh, it's such a confusing world to live in, this Lyme world. And it just turns your life upside down. Just does. Obviously, God will make things new from this. That is my assumption. What that is, I don't know. But my life post-Lyme is going to look drastically different than pre-Lyme. How can it not? I mean, gosh, I've been bedridden for almost 8 months. So, it's a long time. And see the cycling through of certain people in my life. So some of my best friends are probably going to become the people that have been the biggest supporters through this for me that I have never met. And for the local people that are the supporters, that previously, although I liked them well, I can't say we're super, super close. How do you not appreciate people that are invested in your life? These are going to be the people that are going to be closest to me, you know. Confusing. Not that I would want it any other way. It's just confusing. Just very confusing. And I want to touch on the fact about the hateful thing that I said. I want to make this very, very clear. I do not want those people that have angered me or upset me, nor any other single person on the face of this planet ever having to get this disease. That is really my heart. Just because my emotions play into hateful and hurtful feelings doesn't mean that that's truly what I want. And I think instead of ignoring those feelings, I think I need to fess up to them, acknowledge them, repent of them, and then move on. Otherwise, those feelings, I've been shoving them down since the beginning, and it's time to release that to God, let Him deal with me over those feelings, and move on. In order to get through this Lyme, I need to release all of my feelings, not just the ones that are emotional upsets. I need to release the anger and hate that I may be harboring and not telling people about. So, I think everybody has those feelings, and they are hard to face. Very hard to face. Reminds me of the scene in The Neverending Story, where Atreyu is going through the oracles, and he gets through the first oracle, and then he gets to the second oracle, and that one is facing his true self. Well, I feel like as a person, I've been really good with being honest with myself and being honest with other people about who I am. But there are a couple of things that are hard to face. And acknowledge that you are feeling that you would not want anybody to know about. This would be one of them. I would not want anybody to know that I was so hate-filled that I actually, in my anger, wished something so awful upon them. Even knowing in that moment that that isn't really what I would want. So, fessing up to God, fessing up to you as my people that I am being held accountable to, because you guys are the ones that are listening to this. And so, I fess up, and time to release it and move on. I think that's it. Long enough video, as usual. My long videos. Have a wonderful day. Pray for me. I think I have gotten past most of the emotional upset for now. I seem to be doing remarkably well today, emotionally. And I think part of that was finally admitting to my mom and my husband how I was feeling as far as the spite went. So it's amazing how when you decide to recognize something so awful in yourself that you can move past it and continue healing. So anyways, please pray for me. If you would like prayers, please comment down below. I would love to be able to pray for you. So have a good day.